Welcome back to the channel where we dive deep into the fascinating world of rare coins and their skyrocketing value in today's collector market. In today's video, we're focusing on something special: Jefferson nickels featuring Monticello. These classic 5-cent coins have been in circulation since 1938, but did you know that certain low-mintage Jefferson nickels are now commanding big dollars? That's right. These treasures are hiding massive value in the collector market today, and I'm going to show you exactly which ones to look for. First up, we're diving into the world of the 1954 Monticello Jefferson nickel without a mint mark in extra fine condition. Whether you're a seasoned collector or just starting out, you might be wondering, is this nickel worth anything today? Well, stick around because we're going to break it all down from its history to its current value in the collector's market. Spoiler alert, this coin might just surprise you with its market value. Let's start with the history of this fascinating coin. The Jefferson nickel was first introduced in 1938, replacing the Buffalo nickel, and has been in circulation ever since. The design of this nickel features a portrait of Thomas Jefferson on the obverse or front side. This iconic image was designed by Felix Schlag, a German-born American sculptor who won a competition held by the U.S. Mint for the new nickel design. On the front of the coin, we see the left-facing portrait of Thomas Jefferson, the third president of the United States and the author of the Declaration of Independence. The words "In God We Trust" appear on the left, and "Liberty is" inscribed on the right, followed by the year of mintage 1954. One thing to note is that there is no mint mark on this coin, which indicates that it was produced at the Philadelphia Mint, as that mint did not use mint marks until 1980. On the reverse side of the coin, we find an image of Monticello Jefferson's home in Virginia with the words "E pluribus unum" above and Monticello below. The denomination 5 cents and the country United States of America complete the design. This Monticello design is what gives the coin its nickname, the Monticello nickel. It's a simple yet timeless design that has remained largely unchanged for decades. Now, you might be thinking it's just a nickel from 1954, so how rare could it really be? Well, the truth is, not all Jefferson nickels are created equal. Condition plays a massive role in determining a coin's value, and this is where things get really interesting. In the world of coin collecting, we use a grading scale to evaluate a coin's condition, ranging from poor all the way to mint state. A nickel in extra fine condition, like the one we're talking about today, is defined as a coin that shows only slight wear on the high points of the design. In this grade, you'll still see sharp details on Jefferson's portrait, and the steps of Monticello on the reverse side will be well defined. If your 1954 nickel looks this good, it's definitely worth more. So, what's the big question on everyone's mind? What is the collector market value of the 1954 Jefferson nickel without a mint mark in extra fine condition today? Well, as of today, the value of this coin can vary high depending on the market. If you're holding on to a 1954 Jefferson nickel in extra fine condition, you're in for some good news. Currently, these coins are valued anywhere between $450,000. Now, you might be wondering, what exactly drives the value of this coin? Several factors come into play. First, the condition is key. The closer the coin is to mint state, the higher its value. Secondly, collector demand plays a huge role. The 1954 Jefferson nickel is considered ultra rare. It's still sought after by collectors who appreciate its design and historical significance. Coins without any mint marks tend to be of particular interest, since they were minted in Philadelphia, which produced a smaller portion of these nickels. Additionally, market value is affected by the overall supply and demand. While limited of these nickels were minted in 1954, finding one in extra fine condition today is relatively uncommon, especially given the amount of circulation wear over the decades. That's what helps boost the value. So, the next big question: should you sell or hold on to your 1954 Jefferson nickel? Well, that depends on your goals as a collector. If you're looking to cash in, the current market is solid, and you can definitely get a decent return if your coin is in excellent condition. However, if you're more of a long-term investor, it might be worth holding on to your coin for a few more years. Coins like this tend to increase in value as they become harder to find in good condition. And there you have it, folks. The 1954 Jefferson nickel without a mint mark in extra fine condition is definitely a coin worth keeping an eye on, whether you're a beginner or a seasoned collector. With its rich history, beautiful design, and solid value in today's collector market, it's a piece of American history that's more than pocket change. Next up, we're going to talk about a coin that many of you may have in your collection or pocket change but might not know its true worth: the 1960 Jefferson nickel with the Denver mint mark. We'll take a closer look at the coin's history, its design, and most importantly, its current value in the collector market. So if you're curious about this small but significant piece of American history, stick around. Before we dive into the collector value of the 1960 Jefferson nickel with the D mint mark, let's start with some background on this iconic coin. The Jefferson nickel, as many of you know, has been in circulation since 1938. It was introduced to replace the Buffalo nickel, and it features a profile of Thomas Jefferson, the third president of the United States, on the obverse or front of the coin. On the reverse or back of the coin, we see a beautiful depiction of Monticello, Jefferson's famous Virginia estate. This design was created by Felix Schlag, a German-born American sculptor who won a national competition to design the new nickel. The design was so admired that it remained largely unchanged for nearly 70 years, only undergoing minor adjustments in 2006. Now let's zoom in on the 1960 Jefferson nickel, specifically the one minted in Denver, indicated by the small D mint mark on the right side of Monticello. This coin is part of a significant era in U.S. coinage, not because of any major design changes, but due to its place in the evolving history of the nickel. The year 1960 was an interesting time in American history. The country was on the cusp of the 1960s economic boom, and coin production was running high to meet the demands of a growing population. In Denver alone, limited Jefferson nickels were minted in 1960. But even though the mintage numbers are low, collectors still seek out these coins, especially in finer conditions. When we talk about coin collecting, condition is everything. Coins are graded on a scale from poor to mint state MS, with fine F sitting somewhere in the middle. A Jefferson nickel in fine condition shows moderate wear but still retains clear details, especially on Jefferson's profile and the Monticello building. The lettering and date are also easily readable, though some minor details may be worn down. Now, let's get to the part that everyone is interested in: the current collector value of the 1960 Jefferson nickel with the D mint mark in fine condition. As of today, the value of this coin can range anywhere between $250,000 for a coin in average circulation, which is slightly above face value. However, coins in fine condition can fetch higher prices depending on demand and rarity. Though it may not seem like a significant jump in value, consider this: the value of Jefferson nickels, particularly those from the early 1960s in better condition, has been slowly appreciating over time. The coin market fluctuates, and collectors often pay more for coins that have better defined features, a clear mint mark, and minimal damage. However, this value can increase if the coin has unique characteristics, such as a particularly sharp strike or eye appeal. So, what should you look for if you have a 1960 Jefferson nickel? First, check for the D mint mark, located to the right of Monticello on the reverse side. Make sure the details on Jefferson's profile, Monticello, and the lettering are still visible. A coin in fine condition will show wear, but the key details should still be there. The 1960 Jefferson nickel with the D mint mark may be a coin that will give you a decent amount. It still holds its value as a collectible piece of American history. Coins like this are reminders of the rich history behind our currency and the stories they tell. Plus, with the steady increase in value for well-preserved coins, it's worth holding on to your Jefferson nickels, especially if they're in fine or better condition. Next up, we're focusing on the Monticello Jefferson nickel from 1961 with the Denver mint mark, also known as the 1961 with D Jefferson nickel. This nickel may look like an ordinary coin you've seen 100 times before, but don't be fooled. In very fine condition, this little 5-cent piece holds some serious value for collectors today. Curious to know how much? Stick around because we'll break it all down for you. Before we get into its value, let's dive into a bit of history. The Jefferson nickel has been in circulation since 1938, designed by sculptor Felix Schlag. The coin features the iconic portrait of Thomas Jefferson on the front, while the reverse shows his famous home, Monticello. Now, why does 1961 matter? During this year, both the Philadelphia and Denver mints produced these nickels in small quantities. The Denver mint, identified by the D mint mark, struck limited Jefferson nickels in 1961. That's a massive number. But not all of these coins are created equal, especially when it comes to their condition. So what does it mean when we say this nickel is in very fine condition? Grading plays a huge role in determining a coin's value. A coin in very fine condition has moderate wear but retains sharp details. For the 1961 with D Jefferson nickel, a very fine grade means you can still see much of the detail on Jefferson's face and hair, and the pillars of Monticello are still clear, even though the coin has been circulated. Collectors are willing to pay more for coins that are better preserved. Why? It's simple: the better the condition, the rarer it becomes to find that specific coin with minimal wear. So how does the 1961 with D Jefferson nickel fare in today's collector market? In recent years, this coin has been seeing more attention, especially in grades like very fine, extremely fine, and higher. In very fine condition, you can expect the value to range anywhere from $270,000 on the lower end. That might seem like much at first glance. However, it's important to note that coins in very fine condition are just one part of the market. Now, let's talk about the key factors that affect the value of this nickel. Of course, condition is number one, but beyond that, we need to consider factors like the mintage numbers and the demand for Jefferson nickels from collectors. Even though limited of these nickels were minted, fewer and fewer have survived in top condition over the years. As collectors hunt for better quality coins to add to their sets, the competition increases, and so does the value. Now the big question is, the 1961 with D. Jefferson nickel worth holding on to? Well, if you're a fan of Jefferson nickels, I'd say absolutely. As more collectors focus on completing their sets and big investment, demand could increase in the coming years, especially for coins in better grades. If you happen to have a very fine or higher condition 1961 with D nickel, I'd suggest holding on to it or keeping a close eye on the market. You never know when the value of this piece of history might skyrocket. Next up, we're taking a deep dive into one of the most intriguing coins in the Jefferson nickel series, the 1946 Jefferson nickel with the S mint mark. This seemingly ordinary nickel has gained significant value over the years, and if you own one in very fine condition, you could be holding a piece of history worth much more than 5 cents. Before we dive into the fascinating details of this coin, make sure to hit that subscribe button and click the notification bell so you won't miss out on any of our future videos about valuable coins. The Jefferson nickel series started in 1938 and has been a staple of American currency ever since. In 1946, the United States was transitioning from the World War II era, and nickel production returned to its pre-war alloy of 75% copper and 25% nickel after using silver in the war nickels from 1942 to 1945. This makes the 1946 issue the first year after the war nickels, returning to the traditional composition. The design on the reverse side features Monticello, Thomas Jefferson's home, which became an iconic symbol of his legacy. The obverse, of course, bears Jefferson's profile, which was designed by Felix Schlag. One of the key features that makes this particular Jefferson nickel special is the S mint mark, indicating it was struck at the San Francisco Mint. During this period, the San Francisco Mint produced fewer Jefferson nickels compared to other mints, making these coins rare and more desirable among collectors. The total mintage of the 1946 Jefferson nickel with the S mint mark was around 13.5 million, which is relatively low compared to the other mint locations. The Denver Mint produced over 45 million that year, and the Philadelphia Mint struck nearly 161 million. This scarcity is one of the factors contributing to its collector value today. When it comes to determining the value of your 1946 Jefferson nickel, condition is key. The coin's grade can make a significant difference in its market price. We're focusing on the very fine condition. A coin in very fine condition will show moderate wear, particularly on Jefferson's face, but the details of Monticello on the reverse side should still be sharp and defined. This grade means the coin has circulated but is still in relatively good shape with clear details. If you're unsure about your coin's grade, it's always a good idea to consult a professional coin grading service. Now, let's talk about what you've all been waiting for: the current market value of the 1946 Jefferson nickel with the S mint mark in very fine condition. The market for collectible coins can fluctuate, but as of today, these nickels are seeing a strong demand. In very fine condition, the 1946 S Jefferson nickel typically sells for between $370,000. While that might sound like a lot at first glance, remember, this is significantly higher than the face value of just 5 cents. And as the coin market continues to grow, especially for vintage and historical coins, the value could rise even further. So there you have it, the 1946 Jefferson nickel with the S mint mark is more than a piece of pocket change. Its historical significance, low mintage numbers, and growing market demand make it a valuable addition to any collection, especially in very fine condition. If you have one of these coins, make sure to handle it with care and consider getting it graded. Who knows? You might be sitting on a hidden treasure that could increase in value in the coming years. Next up, we're looking at the 1972 with D. Monticello Jefferson nickel, its history, what makes it valuable, and how much it could be worth in today's collector market. Let's start with a bit of background. The Jefferson nickel, first minted in 1938, features the profile of the third president of the United States, Thomas Jefferson. On the reverse side, it showcases Monticello, Jefferson's famous plantation home in Virginia. The 1972 version of this nickel, struck at the Denver Mint and marked with D, continues this classic design now iconic in American coinage. So what exactly makes the 1972 with D Jefferson nickel valuable to collectors? Well, first and foremost, it's all about the condition and the rarity. Coins in very fine condition like this one are generally defined by clear and moderately worn details with light wear on the high points of Jefferson's hair and Monticello on the reverse. For a coin over 50 years old, that's pretty remarkable. In terms of grading, a very fine condition coin falls somewhere in the middle of the scale. It's not mint state or uncirculated, but it's far from being heavily worn or damaged. And this is crucial because the value of a Jefferson nickel, like any coin, hinges significantly on its grade. Collectors are willing to pay more for well-preserved pieces. Now, let's talk about value. In today's collector market, the 1972 with D. Jefferson nickel doesn't typically command astronomical prices compared to rarer coins, but it still holds solid value depending on its condition. A very fine 1972 with D nickel like this one could be worth anywhere from $140,000 depending on demand and market trends. While that might not seem like much, it's still several times the face value of the coin. But here's the kicker: while standard 1972 with D nickels in very fine condition are uncommon, any significant errors or varieties can boost the value. If you have a 1972 with D Monticello Jefferson nickel in your collection, be sure to carefully inspect it for any unusual features. Who knows, you could be holding on to something worth more than you think. And always remember, while the face value is 5 cents, its real worth lies in its history, rarity, and condition. Whether you're a casual collector or a serious numismatist, coins like the 1972 with D Jefferson nickel offer a unique glimpse into American history and provide an affordable entry point into coin collecting. It's always about the high-ticket items. It's about appreciating the craftsmanship and the stories behind every coin. So there you have it. Your 1972 with D Monticello Jefferson nickel might not make you rich, but it certainly has its place in the fascinating world of coin collecting. Let me know in the comments below if you've got one of these in your collection. Next up, we're diving into one of the most iconic coins in American history, the Monticello Jefferson nickel from 1965. What makes this nickel special, and how valuable can it be in today's collector market? Stick around to find out. First minted in 1938, the Jefferson nickel features an elegant portrait of Thomas Jefferson on the obverse or front side of the coin. On the reverse side, you'll find a depiction of Monticello, Jefferson's famous Virginia estate, this design by Felix Schlag has remained largely unchanged for decades, making it instantly recognizable to collectors and casual coin enthusiasts alike. But today, we're zooming in on the 1965 Jefferson nickel, an era known for its unique place in U.S. coinage history. The year 1965 was a pivotal one for U.S. coinage. Due to a nationwide coin shortage, significant changes were made to the production of U.S. coins. One of the most notable changes during this period was the removal of mint marks from all U.S. coins produced between 1965 and 1967. So if you have a 1965 Jefferson nickel in your collection, you'll notice there's no mint mark, whether it was minted in Philadelphia, Denver, or San Francisco. They all share this feature. This coin was minted in small numbers to address the coin shortage of the time. However, despite its low production, certain factors can make a 1965 Jefferson nickel quite valuable today. When it comes to collecting coins, condition is everything. The 1965 Jefferson nickel, like all coins, is graded on a scale that ranges from poor condition all the way up to mint state. The condition we'll be focusing on today is very fine. A Jefferson nickel in very fine VF condition shows moderate wear, but all the major details of Jefferson's portrait and Monticello are still clearly visible. The finer elements of the design may be slightly worn down, but overall, it still retains its attractive appearance. A very fine condition coin is a popular choice for collectors who appreciate a coin's history and character but don't mind minor wear. So what's the big deal with a 1965 Jefferson nickel in very fine condition, and why is it potentially valuable in today's collector market? Let's break it down. The 1965 nickel was minted during a transformative period in U.S. coinage. With no mint marks and the coin shortage crisis, this nickel represents a unique chapter in American history. While limited of these coins were minted, finding a 1965 Jefferson nickel in very fine condition or better is becoming increasingly rare. Many of these coins have been in circulation for over 50 years, meaning they've suffered wear and tear. If you find one in VF condition, it holds a bit more value due to its preservation. There's always a steady demand for Jefferson nickels among collectors. Certain years, including 1965, are of particular interest due to the historical context and lack of mint marks. Now, let's talk about the big question on everyone's mind: how much is a 1965 Jefferson nickel in very fine condition worth in today's market? Based on recent sales and coin price guides, a very fine condition 1965 Jefferson nickel is typically valued between $300,000. That may seem like a fortune. It's important to remember that this is a very accessible coin for beginner collectors. Plus, those prices can vary depending on the coin's eye appeal and the demand in specific collector circles. So, is the 1965 Jefferson nickel worth collecting? Absolutely. While it may not be the rarest or most expensive coin out there, it offers a unique piece of U.S. history and an affordable entry point for new collectors. And who knows, finding one in great condition could add a little extra value to your collection. Thanks for joining us on this exploration of the 1965 Jefferson nickel. Be sure to check your pocket change and those old coin jars. You never know what treasures you might find. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more content about rare and valuable coins, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to leave a comment if you've got a 1965 Jefferson nickel or any other interesting coins in your collection.